Growing up, I was a pretty insecure person. I remember my first attempt at sports. I was in 5th grade, and the first quarter that I was put into the basketball game, I shot it in the wrong hoop and then dislocated my hip and ended up in the ER. So I think when you're surrounded by people who are good at one thing and you are kind of the black sheep of the group, that can be very self-deprecating and can make you feel like you are less than other people. I was very fortunate to grow up in a home that encouraged freedom of expression and trying a bunch of different things to figure out which one was something I wanted to pursue. I took acting classes, singing classes, writing classes, dance class, like all kinds of things, which were very important to the person that I am today because those skills are still with me. And had I not taken the time and had the opportunity to explore those skills and passions of mine, I don't know that I would have ever found that until much later in my life. I think in my own definition, confidence can be identified as living your authentic truth regardless of who's watching. Living in a way that feels happy to you. There are so many unhappy people in the world that we live in. And I'm not at all an expert on this, but I do know that I was given this strong sense of self to help guide other people, specifically women, to live in theirs as well. I think a lot of what has helped build my self-confidence is setting my ego aside and being okay with being a beginner at something and sucking at it for a while. The most prominent example in my life is becoming a small business owner and figuring out marketing, because essentially it's human behavior and consumer behavior and how people support my small business from purchasing journals. And I've been pursuing it for 4 years. 4 years. And this year is the first year that I don't feel inadequate to do it. Had I started my small business and assumed I was an expert on it without seeking out opportunity to grow, being okay with trial and error, figuring things out as I go, failing every day, but failing in the right direction to figure out what didn't work and what I need to do next time to work. I think if I had too much ego and too much pride to do that, I would not be where I am. And I am so far from where I want to go, but the traction and momentum and progress and growth that has happened in those short 4 years have been detrimental to the path that I'm on. I think a lot of people feel unconfident in their bodies and their mind because they don't actively put themselves in a position to be a beginner. It's so weird, especially with the internet. Like, we almost assume that we're an expert on something and we're perfect at it the first time we do it. Like, for example, I started taking self-defense last year and I suck at it. Still, even to this day. It's not something that comes natural. My reflexes are terrible, to be honest with you. And I felt so down on myself. And I'm like, why do I feel this way? Like, I'm really good at a couple of things. Not many things. I'm really, really confident and happy with myself in a couple of areas in my life. And how come this isn't one of them? And it's because I forgot to give myself the grace of being a beginner. It's supposed to suck. It's supposed to be very hard, and so many of us are afraid of being made fun of and being laughed at, and we're so worried about the view from others that we forget that the step in the right direction towards growth and self-confidence is outside of our comfort zone. I think if you're surrounded by, and sometimes this isn't your fault, but I think if you're surrounded by people who do not support you in a growth towards something bigger than yourself, and they make fun of you for being a beginner with a mean intention, because sometimes we make fun of our friends with a good intention, oftentimes. I think if you're surrounded by people who do not allow for that kind of growth, and it's time to make some decisions and surround yourself with people who encourage you to be your best self. I think that when we get very clear on who we are on the inside and what's important to us, and we establish that clarity in terms of personal morals and values, it's so much easier to figure out who in your life is going to elevate that and escalate that, and who is going to try and bring you back down to their level because they're insecure and threatened by your sense of clarity. And that's a very important identifier in establishing self-confidence, because when you're surrounded by people who embody these natural traits and characteristics that you no longer want, it's only going to bring you down. And it's not going to contribute to your growth. And so I keep people in my life like that at an arm's length. And it's very apparent to me at this point in my life who they are, and I'm not afraid to set boundaries and limitations. I think finding your own sense of self-confidence will be the biggest determinant of if you live a happy life, and if you truly enjoy what you have on your schedule today and the person that you are and your contribution to society and the community around you. So many of us assume that people think things of us, like we're so obsessed with assuming that people think of us one way that we forget that the most important opinion of ourselves is our own. We spend so much time saying, they're gonna think that I'm this, so I'm gonna do what I think I should do to prevent that. And going back thousands of years ago, our ego, the source of our ego is a survival mechanism. So your ego is the thing that when you were once lying, your ancestors were lying in a cave at night, your ego was the thing that was saying, hey, make sure outside of the cave, there's not a large lion that's ready to eat you. Our ego is that negative voice that is in charge of our survival and our comfort. So when you go to try something for the first time, and there's a voice in your head that says you're probably gonna suck at that, people are probably gonna make fun of you for that, that's your ego trying to protect you. It's not a bad thing, but it is important to be able to identify the difference between your conscience and your ego, because one will hold you back and one will allow you the opportunity and the space to grow. I think the biggest and most important thing that a person can do to establish self-confidence is to do something for the first time and prepare for failure. Prepare for trial and error and for things not to go the way you want. Prepare for the outcome of what you do, whether it's a skill or a sport, or for me, it's writing content. Prepare for that end result to be lower than what your standard for yourself is. And gradually, as you do it more often, every single day, if you're serious about it, you will get higher and higher toward that level of standard that you set for yourself. I have been so hesitant to share with you my old videos of vlogs that I made before vlogging was a thing. Had I put myself on the internet back then, I probably would have been a millionaire by now, but who's counting? I have been making vlogs like this for over 15 years, which feels incredibly long. And looking back, I was really bad at it, and I loved doing it. I loved recording myself, braces, retainer, rubber bands in my mouth, zits all over my face, frizzy hair, like didn't care, wanted to do the thing that I love to do. I've come so far, and I finally feel like I enjoy what I rewatch when the video is done being edited. I enjoy that, and looking back, I'm cringing at the old version of me because the growth is just so far beyond. And look, you guys, if I didn't have the self-confidence to share these videos or even create these videos back then and get where I am now, obviously, you come to my channel for inspiration or motivation or something or other. I didn't have too much pride to be a beginner at making videos on my super fat video camera back when, I think this was early 2010s that I made these videos. Yeah, if I didn't put in the time and energy then, I certainly wouldn't be in the place I am now, where it comes a little bit more naturally, and I actually like what I'm rewatching on the other side of the camera. Doing pull-ups at the gym is like one of the hardest things that I have ever done in my life. And I'm working towards using a smaller rubber band or using less resistance. And it's really freaking hard. And a lot of people at the gym that I go to can do it no problem. And At first, that felt intimidating to me until I realized nobody is thinking about what I am doing. Nobody cares. They're not even, they don't even know if I can do a pull-up, nor do they care. And I think that's an important thing when you're a beginner, is talking to yourself enough to say that people don't care about you as much as you think they do, and that's a good thing. That allows you to be a beginner on your own, to mess up, to not be perfect, and still make progress in the right direction. Self-confidence comes from doing something for a long time and sucking at it, and then one day you don't suck so bad. You actually enjoy it a little more. You're actually a little proud of yourself for the growth that has happened. But the problem is that most people give up on the thing they're working towards way too soon. I get that we're living in a lifestyle and culture where everything is instant, and you see people online who are killing it in business and personal and finances and all of those things, but you don't know their story, and you don't know that maybe they've been working their entire life or doing things, whether on purpose or not, because I do believe everything happens for a reason, to lead up to the place that they are in their life right now. And that all comes back to the comparison game that we know is toxic for us, and yet we still do it. Having that time to be a beginner and get really good at something will breed the confidence that in turn comes. You put me in a basketball game, I am the least confident person. You even put me in a social setting, I am one of the least confident people, yet I'm super strong in my communication when I'm talking to the camera. I have a good sense of where my confidence lies and where it doesn't, and I still seek to put myself in positions where I'm less confident because I know it will contribute to my overall growth. And is it embarrassing? Yes. Is it a struggle? Yes. Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. But I still do it because I know it's good for my growth. Communication, marketing, taking pictures, taking videos, those are the things that I am really strong and confident in because I've been doing them every single day for so many years. Gratitude, I feel such a benefit from it because I've been doing it for almost 9 years. So when people come to me and say, yo, I've been practicing gratitude for like 30 days and I don't feel different, my life hasn't changed, you haven't been doing it for long enough. Hang on, just wait. Just keep going, because eventually you will get to a place where you feel strong and confident in whatever skill you're going to develop. But first, you have to be a beginner, and you have to be okay with sucking a little bit less, like this much less every single day. So no, I am not an expert on confidence, and I still have days where I don't like what I see in the mirror, or I'm not proud of the progress that I've made, or I feel like I'm behind, or I'm not on my own time schedule. But then I remind myself of the growth that has happened and the skills that I've learned, and I look back through the notebooks that I keep track of the things that I do every single day, and I see that I am one step closer to where I want to go as opposed to where I was before. And then the stakes get higher, and you keep climbing, and you keep sucking at something and being a beginner, and then you get a little more confident at it, and it contributes to your overall human experience. I want you to be happy, and I want you to live a life that you're proud of and that you're excited to wake up for every day, and your relationships are thriving, and you're financially well, and you're taking good care of yourself. And it's really hard to do that when you don't believe in yourself. Confidence is so much more than believing in yourself, but I think having the thought process run through your mind every day that you are capable of achieving all of the things that you want in your life and making a difference is gonna get you there a lot faster and a lot easier. It's really hard to pursue a life that you feel insecure about. So either lower the stakes or rise up to the occasion, because life is so much better on the other side of confidence. And if you're feeling like you're not quite there yet, then that's exactly what it is. Keep going, keep pushing, keep showing up, and one day it won't be as hard as it is right now. But you have to go through those hard days to get to the other side. I hope this helps you. I try to speak on topics like this to the person that I was 10 years ago, a very insecure 15-year-old who was getting kicked out of the lunch table on the first day of high school because I wasn't cool enough to sit there. And now is my opportunity to use what I learned and invite you to my own lunch table. If you love today's content and all of the other videos that we post every Monday, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, as it's the best way to support your favorite content creators. Thanks guys, I love you, and have a great day.